Good morning. We'll just get started as soon as we have a quorum. Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. We will go ahead and call the meeting to order. We've got a lot of items for consideration to cover today, so hopefully we can be super efficient. The first item is to approve the minutes of the January 4th, 2024 MAPS 4 Citizen Advisory Board meeting. Motion and a second. Perfect. Please cast your votes. And that motion passes. Off to a great start. Second item is to receive the MAPS 4 monthly financial reporting ending December 31st, 2023.
Madam Vice Chair, you have in your packet the monthly financial report for the period ending 12/31/2023. On the revenue side for the month, $12,676,469. Fiscal year of $89,416,632. And for a total of $486,580,072. I want to point out that we are currently 2.8% ahead of projections. On the expenditure side for the month, $1,617,512. Fiscal year of $22,830,844, and a total of $190,960,758. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer those.
Any questions? All right, do I have a motion and a second? Perfect. Please cast your votes. And that motion passes. Next item, recommend approval of change order number 4 for the downtown arena phase 1 seating replacement.
So this comes with the approval from the subcommittee. It is a change order for the some of the seating that we did at Paycom. There's an area where there was 20 folding chairs that they wanted to make fixed seats. So that was 6,000. And then in the outdoor area, they did a staging area, and it was fenced off, and they had the connexes and all that. And as you can imagine, it got beat up pretty good, rutted, grass is missing, and we asked them to repair that because they were given that property to use, and they were supposed to put it back in the same shape. We negotiated with them rather than them do it. We are taking a credit here, and we will use a city contract with a landscape company to do those repairs. So they're basically paying for it and having somebody else. It's essentially what they would do anyway.
Any questions for David? Do I have a motion and a second? And please cast your votes. Can you hear me? And that motion passes. Next item, item D, recommend approval of lease and management agreement with Energy FC LLC.
Again, this also comes with the approval from the venue subcommittee. This is a lease and management agreement for the multipurpose stadium. Lots of pieces to this project, and this is another one of those pieces before we actually start design. So this is similar to any of the other operator agreements as far as having an operator. Now, the agreement is structured very similar to what the ballpark has currently, and I want to thank Laura McDivitt and Sue Hollenbeck for working really hard on helping us get this agreement put together with Energy. But we're very happy to start this partnership with the Energy and get this project rolling.
Any questions for David? Then motion and a second?
Can you hear?
Chelsea?
I can never tell if this works. Okay, so I'm just tracking through the process. So we've not formally selected the Energy as an operator, though they have expressed that they will donate the portion of the property where ideally the stadium will go, but that's formally not also been approved yet, right? So we're just selecting the operator in this motion.
This is to select the Energy as the operator for the stadium itself, yes. And you will still see site plan discussions and specific site plans within that site that has been determined to be the location of the multipurpose stadium. So yes, that is still to come here.
Okay, thank you.
All right, please cast your votes. And that motion passed. Item E, recommend approval of, excuse me, resolution approving addendum number 1 for Cameron Park Raw Water Line, extending time to award contract and awarding the contract to Wynn Construction Company.
So this project was bid in a similar fashion that we bid all of them. However, it is ARPA money. This is to help with the watering, the irrigation of the fields in that area. When we say raw water, it is a water line that comes straight out of Lake Hefner. It's clean water, but it is not treated, and it is not potable water that's been chlorinated and all that. So it is a separate system that will be used to water the fields in there.
Any questions? Seeing none, we've got a motion and a second. Please cast your votes. And that motion has passed. Moving on to item F, recommend approval of final plans and specifications to be advertised for bids for the bus stop improvements Phase 1.
This is our first package of bus stops. Lydia Leslie from Kimley Horn is here to go through the project and show you what all it includes. So I'd like to turn it over to her.
Thank you all. So we just want to give you a synopsis of how we landed it in the final phases of the project. So starting off, just as a reminder of what the current shelter configurations look like around the city and what we've been promoting and designing moving forward. So this is the bus stop shelters that you see throughout the city, the 5x8 structure. It's 5 foot in depth and 8 foot long. It has a trash can with it, and it has a 2-bench seat, and you also see the signboards. And also we'll be doing a boarding and lighting area of 25 feet in front of these shelters. So as part of the package, we have the display boards, and this has been a historical part of the shelter throughout the city. And the display boards are installed and maintained by Tyler Outdoor Advertising. They have an ongoing agreement with Embark and Copta to maintain all the outdoor street furniture that Embark owns, as well as those that Tyler Media owns. And Tyler has agreed to pay a greater percentage of the net advertising revenue back to the city, and for a minimum annual guarantee of $72,000. So when we looked at this with the subcommittee, they had some concerns and some questions about what we could do to change things. One of their questions was if we could separate the seats in the shelters. So we did look into that. And some of the things that prevent us from doing that is, the main thing is the display board. So in order to maintain the display board, they need to have access to it, and that second seat would prevent that access. We could modify it, but it's a difficult thing to do, and it's more maintenance problems, and it also increases the price of the shelter. And also to have the dual seat, it increases the price of the shelter. So we're maintaining to keep that single bench with the 2 partitions. The subcommittee also asked for bike racks. And so we did that, and we're going to be supplying bike racks at all the new shelters. That'll be the single loop bike rack. And the shelter sizes, most of the sizes in the rider are due to ridership. And so most of those are on 8-foot shelters. And we do have some 12-foot shelters in the largest areas, and the 16-foot and the ones that have a high riding capacity. So looking and dialing down into that, you'll see in this pie chart on the bottom left, it shows you that of the ridership that needs the 8-foot shelters, those that have ridership less than 10 people. And so the majority of those in red are what we're providing. And there are 3 stops that have the 16-foot that need greater than 20 ridership, and there are 12 that have the 12-foot need, the 10 to 20 range. And so up here in the top right, you also see the bus stop IDs, if you have a question on the specific ones, that those are have the high riderships. Right now, we're in the process of right-of-way acquisition. So we've evaluated the 250 stops that were initially programmed. Of those 250 stops, 50 of those acquire additional right-of-way. When we look to see if the city really owned this property, all the way abutting where a normal sidewalk was in some areas, they didn't, 50 of those. So what we're proposing is to get the right-of-way for all of those 50. Right now in the phase one, I'll be talking more about this 140 number in a minute, but we're looking at 140 in our bid package number one, and we need 28 right-of-way parcels for that first bid package. And then the other 22 will be in the second phase two bus stop project. And the estimated acquisition cost for getting that right-of-way, all 50, is $280,000. So since we last presented to you this, we have had some changes in how we're doing the bidding contract. With Tyler Outdoor Advertising, they already have a contract with Embark and CAPTA to get the shelters in place. They do this regularly, so we've decided to split this, and we would keep the flat work in our bidding contract. So anything with the paving and the curbs, that'll be in this contract for our contractor to do, and then the shelter and the accessories will be using the MAPS money, and it'll be using Embark to purchase those under the original contract that they have with Tyler Outdoor Advertising. This is going to be a coordination with MAPS, Embark, and Tyler Outdoor Advertising. As we move forward in our construction, we'll be making sure that we're progressing well together and everything runs seamlessly in those installations as we do the final flat road approval. So looking at how we arrived at our number of bus stops, we looked at the total fixed construction budget that was allocated for the phase one. It's $4.3 million. And the last time we looked at our pricing, it was in December, and we got pricing from Toller, who is the shelter manufacturer and supplier. We got their pricing, and we got pricing from our unit prices on contracts that are currently in December timeframe. So the estimated flat work is for $1.3 million, and that's for 140 stops. So we think we can get 140 stops within the phase one arena. Then the acquisitions, like I said, is $280,000, and then the estimated material cost alone for the shelter is $1.8 million, and the estimated construction installation those is $140,000. So that gets us at $3.5 million. And so you see that there's some wiggle room in there between the 3.5 and the 4.3. These are going to be bid as unit prices. So if the bidding comes in really well, we can add more to it. But we did want to leave a gap in there for some unknown bidding potential that we've been seeing across other projects. So how this breaks down for this specific one, we'll have a base bid. And like I said, we just want to make sure we have some wiggle room in here for price fluctuation. So we'll put 102 stops in for the base bid, 10 stops in for alternate number one, and then alternate number two will be the 28 that we're still acquiring right away for. And as I said, if we can add more bus stops, we can do that as the prices come in. So look at our schedule. I mean, we're here on track with presenting to you all today, getting council approval, and then we'll be advertising for bids in mid-February, and with the bid opening in the 1st of March, and then proceeding with our actual construction in April. So with that, do you have any questions?
No questions for Lydia? Well, thank you very much for the update. Okay. All right, we've got a motion, now a second. Please cast your votes. And that motion passed. So going on to item G, recommend approval of amendment number 3 to engineering services contract with Kimley Horn and Associates for bus stop improvements.
One of the things that we have been trying to do with all of MAPS 4 money is leverage that for additional money so that we can build as much as we can. And one of those things that has come to our attention is that there are grants out there that we could apply for additional money for more bus stops. And the best person to do that happens to be Kimley Horn. They've done that before. They're already involved in this contract. So this amendment is for them to apply on our behalf for what's called raise grants, so that we can raise more money, see if we can get awarded more money to build more bus stops.
Great. Any questions for David?
So David, this is the fee for them to do
It is.
the grant applications?
Yes, sir.
No more questions? Do I have a motion and a second? And please cast your votes. And that motion passed. So item H, recommend approval of final plans and specifications to be advertised for bids for the diversion hub.
One of the things that I really like bringing to this board is final plans that we can send out for bid. And today is one of those days. The diversion hub has final plans. Rachel Bundy from, there she is, she was hiding, from Reese and Associates is here. Go through the project.
Good morning. All right. Thank you for the opportunity to meet with me today and go over this wonderful project. So the Diversion Hub project, this first slide, we really just kind of try to keep at the forefront of our presentations and at the forefront of our minds, to keep in mind what the purpose of the Diversion Hub is, what the vision for the Diversion Hub is. They are an organization that works with a variety of partners to provide services to individuals who are involved in the justice system, to help work to divert them from going back into the justice system. They provide them with resources. The various partner agencies help with that. And in building this new facility, they also want to make sure that they are providing a welcoming and warm environment for their clients to help encourage people to come in and get the help that they may need. So the site is located, it's bordered by Linwood Boulevard to the north, 6th Street to the south, and then it's in between Klein Avenue and Ellison Avenue. And this site plan, it's probably a little less colorful than I think the one that we brought to the last presentation. We're now finished with construction documents, so it's a more technical drawing. But essentially, I don't believe things have changed significantly from when we brought it to you last time. We have, the building is centered on the site. One of the things that the Diversion Hub wanted in this facility is they did want some separation from the clients and the staff area. And so we have, very clearly delineated staff parking is to the east of the site, staff parking is to the west of the site, the client parking is to the east of the site. They each have a separate entrance. Of course, the client entrance is more prominent at the northeast corner of the building. And we have maintained, I know there were concerns about just as much trees and green space and landscaping, as was appropriate for the parking lots and the facility. And we have not reduced any of that. I know it's not as colorful in this depiction, but we do have trees, lining along Linwood, along Klein and Ellison Avenue. We've maintained the trees in the island parking lots. And we've provided we've focused the landscaping really around the entrance areas for the most part, but we do have some landscaping bordering the parking lots and just helping to give it a little more comfortable, natural feel. We do also have bike parking situated. It's just south of the main client entrance. We do also have they have a shuttle kind of pick up and drop off. They have their own shuttle that they utilize, and so we are planning to provide a little shelter at one of the benches there for the shuttle drop off. And just a few things, related to the site. I believe there's like 3 bus stops very nearby within a couple of blocks. There's one down to the west on Linwood. There's one a little further east on Linwood. And so we're I know the city also has planned for a bike lane to go along Linwood. It's not part of our project, but it will provide additional services to help the clients get there, whether it's vehicle, bike, pedestrian access, public transportation. So I think it's a great location, and we're trying to set it up to utilize all those things. As far as the floor plan, we haven't made a great deal of planning changes, but what you see here is at the yellow space, this is the main public lobby where all the clients would enter. They wanted a large, good size, comfortable lobby so that if individuals have to wait, they're not all crammed in there together. It can sometimes be a little stressful when they're coming in, so we have a large kind of 2-story volume when they first enter. There's a large training space that's provided off of that lobby, which is just an expansion of what they have now. They wanted to be able to provide more training spaces, kind of teaching spaces that can be used by their partners, can be used by the diversion hub. It's situated in such a way that it's off of that main lobby, so it can be used, if it's used after hours, they can easily kind of separate off the rest of the building and close it down. In the main central part of the building are the primary client spaces. This floor really is to serve all the client spaces and support for the clients, but right there in the middle are where the client meeting rooms will be situated, and then there are 3 conference or kind of medium-sized training spaces provided for the clients, and that is more than what they have now, especially for the training and the conference room spaces. Right now, they're really sharing a lot of facilities both between the clients and the staff. They wanted to expand those services and provide a little more separation between those uses. And then we also have space for alternative courts, which is one of the partner agencies Diversion Hub works with. So they have a separate entrance for their hours are sometimes a little before, a little after Diversion Hub's regular hours. So we do have a separate entrance for the alternative courts in the southeast corner, but during regular Diversion Hub hours, it will be accessed off of the main lobby. And then to the west of the building are support services. There's a large space for donation, for food donation storage, non-perishable food items, and a laundering facility. So these are all things that Diversion Hub does have some space for donations now, but that size has increased, and having a place to launder some of the items is something that they don't have now that will expand their services. On the second floor of the facility, this is where the Diversion Hub staff and their partner spaces will be situated. We have a stairway, an open stair there that's directly connected to the client spaces. So they wanted to make sure that although they need to maintain some private office and workstation space separate from the clients, they want to be very connected and they want it to be very accessible. So we do have 2 different stairs that the staff can get right down to the client spaces and easily access the lobby, easily access those client spaces throughout the day. And then we also have provided kind of a large open area there for the open workstations for Diversion Hub staff and partners. We wanted to keep it flexible, as we know some of those partners may come and go throughout the years, and this allows them for some flexibility to be able to rearrange furniture rather than having to, renovate spaces or move walls or something like that. So it helps keep them flexible for future growth and just adjustments that they make. This is the exterior view, the main entrance. So this is the view looking to the west, the main entry for the clients. And you can see Linwood is the street bordering there on the right side of the image to the north of the facility, and then 6th Street. And this is another view of the entrance, and we just wanted to keep the building looking welcoming, give it kind of a calming look. And so we've emphasized the entrance the most, where the clients come into the building, and you can kind of see that 2-story lobby spine space there. So we are in kind of the final steps of the drawings and the design. We've issued the construction documents and the specifications to MAPS and to Diversion Hub. The drawings are targeted to go out to bid on February 14th. We are still conducting some furniture coordination with the end users. The Arnall Community Funds have provided a grant, and they'll be purchasing the furniture, so that will not be part of the hard bid process. So we are still doing a little bit of coordination with that, as it will be direct purchase by Diversion Hub and Arnall. And then the public art for the project is, the RFP is out at this time. And just to show a few locations that are planned for the public art, this is an image of that lobby space. You can see the two-story space there, and the plan is there where it's noted bullet point 1 is a plan for a 3D art installation that's hanging from the ceiling there. A vision from at their existing facility, they have a very kind of small scale, kind of airplane installation, you might call it. And it's to help remind the clients as they come and go, you know, what their purpose is, you know, what lies beyond, and to help keep them focused on staying positive in their in what they're working through. And so the public art is going to expand on that and provide a larger installation there at the two-story space, so obviously visible to all the clients and everyone who enters the building. And then at points 2 and 3 are opposite walls there in the lobby for some public art pieces. And again, they're at a great location. You'll see it as you come in, and you'll see it as you go out. And so it's very prominent to display. And the fourth location for public art, this is down the center spine where the client meeting spaces occur. So we, you know, obviously wanted to keep the public art focused for public viewing and for the clients to view. There is a two-story wall space there that's part of helping to connect the staff spaces at the second floor down to the ground. So it's planned for a mural wall where you're seeing that. Right now, the design intent showed an art piece there, but the plan is that that full wall, 2 stories, will have a mural on it. So you'll be able to see it from different perspectives, from the ground floor and from the second floor. And again, just another connection between the first and second floor. So some of these steps I mentioned, but we are in the process of seeking approval from all of the public meetings that we're going through. And then the target upon approval would be to go to bid on February 14th. We would plan for a pre-bid meeting to occur February 23rd, and for bids to be collected on March 13th. And then with an anticipation of getting a contractor under contract and construction to begin in April of this year. I know the Diversion Hub is excited and very anxious. They're bursting at the seams currently. As far as updated cost estimate, you see the top 3 line items. In addition to the MAPS funds, we're outlining some of the Arnall Community Fund grant contributions. So there were some additional grant contributions and funding from Arnall towards this project. So we've kind of tallied that up as part of the total construction budget, which is $15,251,473. And then our estimate is coming in just under that. We're still maintaining a small contingency at this time within that construction estimate. So currently we are under budget. And then the note at the bottom is just identifying that the Arnall Community Funds grant contribution will fund the furniture for the project directly, and it will also fund IT equipment for the project directly. So those items are not included in the budget or the construction estimate at this time. I welcome any questions, comments, thoughts.
Any from the committee?
Can you go back just the previous page?
Sure.
So the Arnall Community Fund, that's the $1,228,000, is that the same as what the footnote is below?
That is not.
Okay, okay.
When they pursued the grant, there were sort of 3 parcels.
I'm
to
sorry, I
it.
see it says parking lot inside.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, the land acquisition was
Yeah.
separate from that grant as well. So it becomes a little confusing, I know, but we're trying to kind of outline where those dollars are coming from, what they are dedicated to, and really the note at the bottom is just to indicate that those items are not included in the bid documents in the numbers that you see above. They'll be direct purchased, and it's a separate amount from what you see in the summary above.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for Rachel? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So I have a motion and a second. And please cast your votes. And that motion has passed. Moving on to I, recommend approval of architectural services contracts with Alfred Hall Monaghan Morris LLC.
So this is a architectural contract for the Restoration Center, and went through the process that all of you have been involved in by now for selection of architects. I'm very anxious to get this one started.
Do I have a motion and a second? Perfect. Please cast your votes. And that motion passed. All right, great pacing, everybody. Seeing no discussion items, we now, do we have any Maps for Citizens Advisory Board subcommittee reports? Anything from the subcommittees? All right, next, update status of the Maps for program.
Got a lot going on. I think you saw some of that. There's a lot of things that are still ongoing in design and will be coming out in the coming months. I can tell you that the Coliseum is going great right now, and if you're out there, you can kind of drive by and see it. It's really taken shape. This week they started hanging the large trusses that form the roof of the building, so you can start seeing the full scale of the building. But other than that, lots going on.
Thank you, David. Do we have any comments by board, staff, or citizens? Any citizens sign up? No? All right. Seeing no further business, we can adjourn.